I love it. Hello, guys. Welcome to Confidence Live with me, plus size supermodel Tricia Campbell, confidence, body image, and model coach. Tonight, we did a flipperoo. Normally, I am on 8:30 a.m. every Monday, of course. But of course, we have a West Coaster here, one of my favorite coaches and mentors and good friend of mine. She's just gonna drop some gems tonight. I can't wait to hear all the good, juicy, yummy, blissful things that she's going to share with us, of course. And the topic is be you without apology and make more money. Can that really be real? Like, can you really, really be who you truly are and make millions? And that is just exactly what Miss Vanessa Simpkins here have done. And she is here to tell us how to do it with ease and just feel amazing. So welcome, Vanessa.
Hey, thanks, Trisha. Thanks for having me.
Yes, for sure. Oh my God, I've been wanting to have you we went to Hawaii. Oh my God, we went to Hawaii and we really got to know each other. I got to see your vibe, all of that. And for those of you who don't know, I've had many coaches, and Vanessa was one of my coaches. She was one of my business coach. And I learned some amazing things from her about business, life, everything. So Vanessa, tell us a little bit about, who you are. I read your book, you going from selling mops all over the country. You're originally from Canada, right? And you were selling mops. And what really touched me about your story is that night when you said you had to get away from that crazy ex where you thought he was going to kill you, and you were like, I gotta get out of there. Yeah, so welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I think one of the big themes that has been current in my life and my business for the last 15 years has been this process of like reinvention. Like what must die in order for something new to be born. And there's like so many lifetimes. People ask me in podcasts all the time, like, tell us a little bit about you. I'm like, well, which version do you want to hear about? There was a time when I sold mops and lint removers and turned that into an online coaching business, teaching spiritual women entrepreneurs about direct marketing, sales, inner work. And then the Take Your Power Back Now story, that story of that I sat on for 5 years that I didn't want to share with anybody, right? The story that I never wanted to tell about healing from a toxic relationship really launched a global movement. Take Your Power Back Now book turned into a bestseller, a movement, thousands of clients around the world. I lived in Hawaii for a bit as the bikini business coach and taught online marketing and sales and like all the things, had a team of 30 people, $12 million in sales, like booming masterminds, VIP days, retreats in California. And during the pandemic, I, kind of opted out of all the stress and got divorced and moved to the mountains. I live in a very spiritual, high vibe community of Mount Shasta, California, with my 5 chickens and big garden in the backyard. And I got my truck. I go to live music concerts, and I've really simplified my life. I'm very proud of myself for making the space for me, and coming from a space of nothing left to prove. I think making a lot of money, and there was a part of me that needed to prove, like, oh, can I do this? Can I really do this? Like, let's manifest this. Let's mindset this. And I can. I can basically do anything I set my mind to. But the question is that fulfilling me? Is that, is that filling my cup? Is that really just a response, a trauma response? I did a lot of shadow work, and I continue to do it, ascension work. And these days, I'm really having a lot of fun working more privately with women, having them here to my home on retreat, going on retreat with you girls here in Hawaii, That was a lot of fun. Embodiment work. I've been doing a lot of work around visibility blocks because that brings up all the things, right? The worthiness, the deservingness, the, oh my God, I don't want to, who am I? I'm not Tony Robbins syndrome to talk about XYZ, and how can I charge that much, and who's going to listen to me? And it brings up all the stuff. So I still love doing that work. I just offer it in a different way and have a much more simplified life. And we were talking about this before we got started. There's a lot of people that you're going to let down when you choose yourself.
Tell me about it. Yes, let's talk about that a little bit because I am always authentic. I thought, but the more like doing a 30-day video challenge, and you were the one who really taught me about like the importance of getting on camera and really being you and being who you are, right? And yeah, you're gonna like, some people are not gonna rock with you. Some people are gonna be like, okay, what is she doing now? So what can you tell who's hi Christopher, hello, 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 hey, welcome. Yes, so what can you tell women about, like, because I grew up with the whole Caribbean parents, which are very tough. I had a breakthrough call, when was it? Yesterday. And actually, the young lady who wants to become a model, we spoke about this. Like, she always wanted to be in front of the camera, always wanted to be a model, always. But again, just like my mom, when I said I was going to be a model, she was like, "You're going to go be what? What are you going to be? You're not, no, you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, like a creative." Like, no, they're not having that. So there's a lot of people who, they get all this big education, they're making a ton of money, and you just said that, like, you made multi-millions and had a multi-million-dollar company, and you still did not feel like, okay, I'm in my rhythm, I'm in my gear, this is what I really want, this is how I really want to live my life. So how can women just really just relax and just go for exactly what they want and make money at the same time?
Well, I think there's something to clarify here because, at the time when I was roaring, and that was exactly what I needed to be doing. That was the perfect version of that. When I was selling mops and traveling around the country in a camper trailer, making $1,000 a day after going bankrupt, it was exactly what I needed to be doing. And so it's kind of like, entrepreneurs, I believe, are artists. We're creative people. And it would be crazy to think of your style or your medium never changing, or your programs never changing. So it's like this constant process of becoming, that next evolution of you.
Yeah.
And my father was a famous artist. I come from a long line of famous Canadian artists. And if I, trace back their artwork, if I look over my dad's, he died when he was 66 years old. Like, he was an artist since he was the age of 7. So you look at a 60-year career, the painting styles changed. Your business is going to change. Your goals are going to change. So I think for the people that are really wanting to, live their purpose, you either can, live out the trauma in your family, which I think that just comes from unconsciousness. Nobody, becomes an adult and thinks, oh, I'm going to do this to make my parents happy. That's really not a conscious thing, but that's how a lot of people are raised, to keep love close to them.
I went through that. I live through that. And even to this day, sometimes some people in my family, they'll be like, "Oh, how is that modeling thing going?" They don't really say how that coaching thing is going yet, but because they know me more as a model. So like, how is that thing going? Right? Because in their minds, it's like, it's creative. You can't make a living. You can't be wealthy. There's no stability there. So we have to change the mindset. And doing all my work and my healing, it really helped me to just know that that's a lie from the pit of hell.
Yeah, and you have to understand most people are coming and giving you advice because they care for you and because they're too chicken to follow their own dreams and their own intuition. And so, if you actually succeed at it, then wow, that tears down their whole belief structure. Especially if you're like the first one in a family to actually, make money or go after your dreams. I was lucky because I was raised in a very creative family, but there was taboo over art. It's like, don't become one of these starving artists. And so I became an entrepreneur, same thing. It's an artist. And I've helped thousands of women break through their visibility blocks, their money blocks, start making offers, start being visible, start making sales, start getting clarity, right? You can basically do anything you put your mind to, anything you commit to, if you know how to use your mind versus allowing your mind to use you. And that's not just like pie in the sky, blowing smoke up your butthole. That's thousands of case studies and testimonials over a 15-year career. So the real question is, why do you allow these external influences or the naysayers to take you off of your path? And it's a really valid conversation because so long as you're looking outside of yourself for external validation, that's where you're going to get stumped, right? So it's just unconscious programming, really, at the end of the day. And then eventually, usually people get a wake-up call, a wake-up call to look at their trauma, to look at their life, to do the inner work. I call it like strap your tits on and do the inner work, and it doesn't, you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to heal all my ancestral trauma in my body and, start this new career. Most people need a wake-up call, a divorce, a death.
What wake-up call? Like what, for people who are watching who they don't really understand what that is? Because there's some people who are just so numb, Vanessa, they're just numb.
Well, I don't really know them, to be honest with you. I don't. When you really heal, you evolve to a different frequency. And those are the only people that are in your life. So I have very, very deep conversations, a deep connection with deep people, very vulnerable conversations, because that's who I am. That's where I am in my life. I don't have surface people.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I'm not interested in that, and I won't entertain that. Mm-hmm. So, but people are numb. There are people that sit around and complain about life, and well, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But those people aren't happy. Yeah. They might be doing jobs to pay the bills or watching Netflix all night long or numbing themselves with any kind of addiction. But you have to understand, like, where does addiction really come from? It comes as a self-soothing coping mechanism for childhood pain that they don't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And so when you're really talking about living an authentic life, you're talking about the healing journey from being numb and avoiding some really painful feelings, and allowing that to process and not being driven by the fear of avoiding that.
Yeah.
That's what you're really talking about. That's living an authentic life. That's where creativity is birthed. That's where your authentic voice, how do you really speak your truth with love and not hold back, because that it's going to piss some people off or upset some people or disappoint some people. I mean, that's, we're hardwired for connection. So, don't say that. Oh my gosh, don't come out and do that. You want people to like you. It's being run by the past, not being present. And so It's a really interesting journey. So, a wake-up call. I mean, I've had 3 massive wake-up calls in my life. A divorce, a bankruptcy in 2006,
Mm-hmm.
near-death experience in a hotel room with an ex-boyfriend in 2011, I think, 2012. Divorce in 2020. So these are like major wake-up calls, where you look and reevaluate your whole life. And I don't think success is measured by how much money that you have in the bank. Although I'm grateful. I'm super grateful for all the money that I made because it afforded me time to actually like, hey folks,
Relax
I'm gonna take the summer off. I'm gonna go to some music concerts and create art now and
yeah.
completely renovate my life, from the inside out. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for that. But I don't look at, your definition of success changes. Money in the bank is great, but it doesn't replace peace or presence. It
Or
doesn't
joy. Joy
or
too.
connection, happiness. Yeah, it doesn't. You can be miserable and full of money. So I think the real sweet spot is like I've been thinking about this recently. Like, okay, so what is happiness? Like, where does it come from? Right? It comes, and I notice it comes from like, okay, I've painted my entire basement. It's a whole healing journey of like, all right, Vanessa, I'm gonna sit with this like melancholy feeling. It's been like, wow, it's a week. I'm still going through this like grief. Wow, what is this? I'm not going to abandon self and go to work and like write emails and no.
Right.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit with this. I want to paint the basement from yellow to pink. Never, it's a huge project. It's kind of symbolic of like moving from childhood to adulthood. The yellow represented my family home. And I've been meaning to do this since February, but it's a huge project painting the basement. And there's like some parts of the wall that have to be spackled and re-freaking finished and not just painted, but like retextured. And I'm like, how do I do that? I'm like, I could hire it out to somebody, or I could
That's
just
what I was just gonna say to you, because you could hire somebody to do
yeah, but I actually like painting.
that.
It's therapeutic. And it's been its own process of like, it's kind of like a ritual. And
Yeah.
it's turned into like art. It's given me ideas and inspiration to do other pieces of art. So like just allowing myself to do that. What I've come to notice about happiness is that when we enter the unknown, we're willing to enter the unknown. The fear of, I don't know how to do that. Let me think about it. When you start a business, you're like, oh my God, can I do it? Who's going to hire me? How do I do the social media thing? Online video. It's like all these new things. What's going to happen with my taxes, my health insurance, all these unknown. It's entering the unknown. It's the death of your ego. It's the death of this thing called this identity, this ego that protects you. And most people are driven, their entire life is driven by that thing, that ego, and people don't know how to dismantle it, don't know how to look at it objectively, and so it leads their whole life. But happiness, I think, comes from the willingness and the ability to step into unknown and like show up and see how you do. I'm really happy with the way that my basement turned out. It feels great. Is it perfect? No. Could it have been like so much better if I hired the painter guys down the street? Probably. Would I have had taken so much pleasure from this week of, allowing myself the time and space to listen to music? And no, like it's the satisfaction that I have from like, I'm so dang proud of myself. I learned something new. I did something new.
Right. Yeah, I just remember, from childhood, just loving to dance and just loving to be free and just loving to be creative. Like my cousins the other day, they were telling me, oh my God, Trisha, remember like when you totally choreographed a modeling show at one of our birthday parties? I mean, like I was like seriously, I was like in my zone, you know what I mean? And I as you say, like things happen and life happens for people and you forget like what makes you feel so complete and happy and joyous and peaceful. And yeah, because life happens, and of course, yeah, we have bills to pay and all of that stuff. But what I want women and men to know that is that you could be yourself, be, you don't have to apologize, and you could still make money, right? Like one of my affirmations right now that I say is, I am making lots of money while I have fun. And I notice every time I do that, like the other day I was on the beach, I think I just posted that, and I got an email. I was supposed to go to New York for a go see, big go see. And I'm like, okay, I'm going. Yeah. I say yes to it. Yes, yes, yes. And then I'm on the beach the other day, and then my agent emails me and literally says, it's not a go see anymore. They direct booked you. Right. And it's while I'm having fun, while I'm not like caught up in the moment. And that's what I just want, everybody to feel, like not this anxiety, like, oh my God, I gotta like, beat the pavement and stuff like that. I mean, there's time and place for that, of course, as you were saying, like people's some people have that in a moment where they have to do that for that time. But if you're into like, oh my God, getting to live your purpose, help people, and just love what you're doing, I feel like it should be with ease and it should be with fun. That's why um we called in this travel amazingness. Can you talk a little bit about your involvement with that and how you got introduced to that as an entrepreneur, as a shepreneur, boss babe?
Yeah. So first of all, like Trisha, seeing her in Hawaii doing the modeling thing all day long was amazing. Okay.
Oh,
You
we
and Ruby were like the models be modeling. We were dancing and listening to music and taking pictures and parading around the entire week. It was hilarious, amazing, so fun. So you definitely, you that vibe, that is who you are. That comes, and I always used to say in for coaching, like you should charge what the most for what comes naturally easy for you, posing and for some people they're like, so you're just like natural and like do, and it's so you. Um, and we had so much fun. Oh my God. Oh
Hmm.
my God. Pictures in the waterfalls. Like it was
Ooh.
amazing. It was so fun. And then on that trip, I remember we were having a lot of conversations about you wanting to host retreats and traveling more and, going to Jamaica. And so I had this intention to, I've been the bikini business coach. Thousands of women followed me because they wanted to have a portable, profitable business they could rock in their bikini if they wanted to. That was the brand.
My swimsuit right now.
Yep.
I'm in my swimsuit today. Yep.
And the truth is, like not everybody can or not everybody has the fortitude or the discipline or the drive to create their own coaching programs and do their own marketing. But this dream trips opportunity showed up on my doorstep, and I said, heck yeah, travel the world and get paid. Sign me up. I mean, that's, the product is traveling and everybody wants to travel. It's a multi-trillion-dollar business. And I thought of Trisha right away. I was like, hey, Trisha, what do you think about this? Like, I'm doing it. And she's like, well, I need a sign from God. I was like, yeah, totally, and then I spoke to my friends and they're like, oh, we're having this big, hoo-ha yacht party in Florida. I was like, oh, let me tell Trisha, it's tomorrow. I'm like, oh gosh, Trisha, you should go and meet these amazing women. She's like, Vanessa, it's across the street from my condo. I'm like, well, there's a sign. And so it's been a rad trip. It really, and that's when you're talking about like how to make money by just like having a lifestyle. Like when I think about, because I ran retreats in Hawaii and it would cost me $15,000 to rent a mansion for 3 days. Okay,
Ooh.
3 nights. I've been there. I've done that, with the infinity pool and the overlooking the ocean and, the private chefs and the extra and on and on and on.
Mhm.
Um, what did we do on those retreats? Yes, people learned about business building and, yes, inner work and all this stuff, but they, I would fly a photographer from California
Ooh,
and
big
yep.
time.
Yeah, and come and take photographs of my clients, and they use those photographs in their marketing, like still like 10 years later, plus years.
Mhm.
Okay. So like if you really look at all that, And I would encourage the girls to do live streams and take pictures and like post, and they would get clients from that. Why? Because people are like, oh my God, I want to be like you in Hawaii. So it's like, so this dream trip thing is like, why don't you just go on a trip and let people see your cool, freaking amazing rock star life.
I
and that's it, and
guys, Vanessa is giving
the
us
opportunity
gems right now, right?
I already know that it works.
Gems right here.
I already know that it works. So, and they just have such a cool travel portal. I get like luxury, travel at a discount. So it's one of the things, I do a lot of things. I make art, I sell coaching, I teach women about, sharing the story they never wanted to tell, inner work, healing work, embodiment work.
Right.
Dream trips.
Yeah. And now you're working on the Goddess Gateway. Like, tell us some more about that excitingness. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, the Goddess Gateway is actually my 4-car garage here. I have this external garage to the house, and I've transformed it, in the last few years. It used to be filled with like boxes from, I was going to buy this house on a golf course in Southern California. I lived there with my ex-husband for several years. And when I moved here, the whole house moved into that garage because this house was already furnished. And so it's been this reclaiming process is what I notice. And so it's turned into this I'm calling it the Goddess Gateway. So it's got like infrared sauna. It has a stripper pole for dancing embodiment. It has a workout zone, art tables, a photography studio with like lights, camera for photo shoots, because I do a lot of embodiment work with women. Dancing, getting into my body, healing trauma is really about the somatic experience of moving stuck energy and emotions out of your body. And then also teaching women about like helping women through this body shame. Like, okay, we can talk about shame, and because when you're doing inner work with women around money and worthiness and deservingness, and you're looking at shame, you're looking at like all the things, right? And then there's this whole other layer about body shame. So, well, I've been doing some like retreats here with women and really enjoying that. And we do like photo shoots and waterfalls and eat yummy, nourishing food and dance. And so that's kind of like the Goddess Gateway now. It's a place I'm giving my clients access to while they're here, fitness courses, like art therapy, getting like I used to teach women, and I still do, a process of like, sharing the story that you never wanted to share, which is like you're allowing somebody to see this like vulnerable, you're getting it out of your head and into your body and onto paper. It's a somatic process, right? And so art is the same, getting it out of your body, out onto paper or to a canvas. And dancing is the same thing, right? It's like getting the emotions out of your body through music. And photography, seeing this wow, this new you. It's all powerful work. It's all around helping women heal shame and love themselves. And that actually is the frequency that you were talking about on the beach. So you either have like this ego identity trying to protect you from the unknown. Oh my God, like,
yeah.
Okay, the past, right? Leading your life, and in which case you have a lot of anxiety in your relationships, blow up, and like it's not natural or easy or flowing. It can feel stagnant, unfulfilling. You feel unseen, unheard, unmet because you're not seeing, feeling, and meeting these parts of yourself. And when you do that work and you're not driven by gotta have to, the to-do list, the, oh my gosh, if I don't do this, I'm going to disappoint those people, right? So you're living this authentic presence. Intuition is guiding your life, not the crazy mind, have to, got to, oh my God, the fear of. But when you're really, when you move up that vibrational scale, shame vibrates at like 20, you got anger at like 30, you move into love at like 500, acceptance, peace. And then I think, poof, you become a Mayan and you disappear, like who knows, right? But the more you move up that vibrational scale, the higher your frequency gets. And, loving yourself is one of the highest frequencies out there. And so I'm really into this whole concept these days, is the whole world's waking up and we're all ascending, We talk about some radical experiences of people here in Mount Shasta and Kauai, Hawaii. They're just radical portals for healing and artists and musicians. Very transient, very different, I would say, caliber of people.
Yeah.
I believe that like it's really all about our frequency.
That vortex, being in that certain like energetic vortex. And like when you're in a certain vortex, you attract certain places, people, things that will just like blow your mind, right?
Yep.
Like I love this gospel artist. She's from Nigeria, Sanash. And I'm like, oh my God, when things get better and when we could go to concerts again, oh my God, I would love to see her in concert. Vanessa,
Do
don't
it.
you know, I'm scrolling on my Facebook like this week, and they're like, Shanash will be playing in Florida. I was like, what the hell? Like, I totally called that to myself, right? And then, like, for me, I love New York. I go back and forth now, but like when I was in your program, I manifested moving to Florida, and it was like out of this world, right? And it's just when you do that healing work and you're on the higher echelon in a great vortex where you love yourself, your confidence is amazing. The things that manifest is just out of this world.
Yeah. And you're willing to step into the unknown
Mm-hmm.
and learn something new. And you're also willing to get support and not try and do this on your own.
I'm telling you, the support was just like enormous. Like while I was in your program, of course, the support was just over the moon. And, I really want to thank you for sharing your knowledge with so many women around the world. We were in your program, women from all over, from Australia, from England, right? Oh my God. California, New York, all over.
And rad awakened women who are committed to growth. I call them love leaders and rock stars. Women who are just dedicated to leading with love, to sharing their story, to inspiring others, to turn their lemons into lemonade, to share their gifts, to heal the world. Think about it. We're in the most exciting, interesting, radical time of human history, awakening, moving into 5D consciousness. I watch all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
There's never been a better time to be alive. And it's better than TV. Like what's happening on the planet right now, it's magical. It's like a magic carpet ride.
I don't even turn my TV on that much anymore. Like, it's like, for what? Because it's like, I tell my clients to listen, you're the star of your own movie. Like, you should be making your own life, your own movie, your own. If you're sitting down and you're like, okay, I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix all day or just watch television, you're not living. You should, you should.
You're watching other people live.
Yeah.
But there's a time for that too, because there's also a time for healing where you're just like, I'm sitting in my PJs and I'm going to eat this thing. I'm going to watch this TV. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to just not do, because anything to an extreme over an extreme period of time is unsustainable. So there has to be some kind of like, there are times there's balance. There's times where I'll be like, I'm going to watch this documentary. I'm going to binge watch the whole Virgin River series. I'm like, oh my God, I love Virgin River.
Right.
Or what's that one? Yellowstone. I'm going to watch Yellowstone. Let me tell you, I love this show. So like, do I consider myself a very spiritual person? Yeah. But there are times where I'm going to watch TV, and it's necessary. Sometimes, you can't be, life isn't always happy. Life isn't, you're not always going to be at a 10 out of 10. So understanding the duality and not identifying with it. Like one of the things that I was reminding a friend of mine yesterday, even my sister, God bless her, she got COVID, she got a little baby, a 2-year-old, everyone got COVID. Oh my God, she's pregnant. So she was like, dealing with like aging parents and a partner and kid and she's like exhausted. And I'm like, this too shall pass,
Yeah.
like everything. And this is the whole part of life. It's like everything changes.
Yeah, it's for a moment, like nothing stays the same.
Really. And
Evolve.
it could be in the good way and the bad way. I mean, who says it's good or bad? You know what I mean? It just, that's the truth about life. There is duality here on the planet. There
Yeah.
is night and day and hot and cold and dark and light. And, things change. There's this too shall pass. It's fall now here. So it's so nice. It's still 90 freaking degrees. It's still like summer.
Okay.
But
So
the
are you going
mornings
on
are
the lake and like going
every
hiking,
day.
doing
Yeah,
all that stuff?
every day I go for a swim or, mountain bike around the lake or go up the mountain. But the mornings are cool. Like, ooh, I got to like take a little blanket out when I sit out with my coffee and, do my little morning ritual at the mountain, my journaling. And it's not super summer anymore. Like we're moving into fall. So, this too shall pass and
Because you guys
balance.
get snow up there and all of that, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not like Canada snow. It's snow for like rad 2 months to go skiing. There's a ski hill here, and I hadn't gone skiing in like 8 years. Right? I lived in Hawaii, I lived in Southern California, so like I hadn't cracked out my skis in like 8 years.
Wow.
When I moved here and I got a season's pass, and I was like, getting my ski legs back on. I was like, oh my god, I'm a Capricorn. Like we're
Did
like
it bring you back to your childhood? Like,
Yeah, well, I'm a sea goat, right? So there's
Mhm.
like Capricorn is a mountain goat with a fish tail. So, it's like the mountains here in Mount Shasta and mountain life and big trees. And, there's my like mermaid tail for Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. I love
God. I'm telling you, just be you without apologizing. Like, I just love that about you. And I just want women and men, not only women, to just be who you are. That's why one of my hashtags is be you. And when you be yourself, it's just it's freedom. Total freedom.
Yeah, and you inspire other people too, that frequency.
Yeah.
That people come around you and they're like, wow, how is this person so authentic or so real or so bashful, and it gives other people permission. But that takes some deconditioning, some processing,
Because I know
that's the work.
I'm a people pleaser, and I had to like really work on like my boundaries and work on like really being who I am and unapologetically, definitely. So, I'm talking from like experience and working on this and overcoming it. Because my aha was definitely when my mom died of colon cancer. I was like, okay, girl, stop the fake stuff. You better get real and get real quick.
But
Right.
that was a wake up call for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, my relationship that I thought was going to turn into marriage was like a hot mess. I was in a relationship. My body was there, but my mind, soul, heart was not in it. And it was just, and yeah, I know that I'm totally healed because I could actually talk about this right now. you know,
Healing is revealing. Yes.
Yeah. So, and it feels so good to be able to do that. So, oh my God, Vanessa. So, how can people like work with you, contact you? Yeah.
Well, there's a few ways to connect with me. TakeYourPowerBackNow.com is my website, TakeYourPowerBackNow.com. You can find me on Facebook, Vanessa Simpkins, on Instagram, on YouTube. And then I have a private Facebook group with women called The Next Evolution of You. If you just search for that in Facebook.
So, 1 minute. Can we just talk about that name? That name is genius. The next evolution of you. Where so many women want that next evolution of themselves, and they don't know like how to like tap into that. One question: how did you come up with that name? That's the first question I'm gonna ask you because it's just genius.
Well, and I'm going to kind of tie it back to what we were talking about, boundaries, because you need to be fierce with I call it like your fuck yeah and your fuck no. If it's not a fuck yeah, it's a no. But having boundaries, saying no to other people, saying no might disappoint other people, but what's worse, disappointing others or disappointing yourself? And so I love how you shared about creating boundaries, and that's what allows you to show up for yourself in these new ways, or give yourself the time and space to explore, to create, to learn a new skill, to whatever it is. The next evolution of you, I think, came from that process, that healing process. Take Your Power Back Now was such a big brand. It was, the best-selling book that got me on national television, and all the things.
And all over the world, just
Yeah, thousands of women. And in my healing process, when I, wanted to just give up, and processing divorce and heartbreak, and wow, all of these, who's Vanessa Simpkins if I'm not this big baller women's empowerment leader, making $350,000 a month, and all the responsibility that,
wait,
yeah.
3,000 a month. Like, what are you doing with so much money? Like,
Well, let's be honest, not all of that is profit, right? A lot of that was expenses and ads and teams. And so there was a lot of responsibility there. There was a lot of risk,
wow.
and a lot of pressure, and a lot of stress, and a lot of management, and a lot of not creative time for Vanessa. But that was a trip, I was like, let's see how big this thing can go. Wow. That was the trip. That was the trip. And when I started healing, I didn't have anything to prove anymore.
Yeah.
I started healing from codependency. It was the most excruciating 2 years of burning down the old, and creating the new.
Yes. So the next evolution of you, that's pretty much from taking from your healing and helping women to come
Rebirth.
into their next evolution of themselves too. Wow, Vanessa. So many women, all over the world needs that service and need that help and that coaching. So that is just, yeah. And I see you doing your retreats, and I've been on one in Hawaii with you, and it's revolutionary. I mean, the women, we were, as you said, taking pictures and posing and modeling. And it's just so fun to see how women just come out of their shell little by little. I love
And how rad that everyone got along. There was no weirdness or competition or bickering or cattiness or none of that. Just instant soul sisters.
So true.
And I just love the organic process of, I was an email. I was how that all happened was really just me following my intuition, time to go to Hawaii. They lifted the travel ban, my friends hey, if you come the following week, we can stay in this retreat center. I was supposed to do a retreat. The girl didn't show up. I was let me send an email to my list. 6, 7 women showed up. We had the freaking raddest time.
Yes, we did. It was magical, blissful moment. It changed my life. That's so I'm here to tell my audience too that if there is a feeling in your gut, listen, I want to travel here, I want to meet up with certain women, or go on trips with a mentor or a wellness, whosoever who can lift you and help you, you're getting nudged for a reason, and it can literally change your life. Seriously.
Yeah, if you show up. I always say 90% of success is showing up. I mean, we had women that had never traveled before in their 60s, never left, never got on a plane to leave across, a body of water, like an ocean, take 3 flights, come to Hawaii, then go to Canada at 60 something years old. We had amazing women.
By herself too.
Yeah, show up for this. And it's really about that, you're going to sit here and either expect somebody to come and save you, or you're going to get up off the couch and save yourself.
Yeah.
And show up for yourself, and invest in yourself, and commit to yourself, and see yourself, and love yourself. And then you're going to see it reflected out there, but never before. And yeah, there's so many opportunities even here with Trisha, your coaching work, the dream trips. I mean, there's so many ways to plug in and play and raise your frequency and heal and
Have
be
fun.
you, unapologetically and make money. And there's so many different ways. You just gotta find one that really calls to you and that feels like a fuck yeah. And then
Mhm.
have the courage to like show up and be in the unknown with that and explore and fail. Oh my gosh, like do you think that my first website is even still around? Or you know what I mean? Like, do you know how many times I've failed in my life and it's not, it's not failure. I learned so much from all of the things, from the relationships I have, from the lessons I have. People are like, why aren't you still running your multi-million-dollar business? I'm much happier as a creative artist that just does, coaching here. This is one thing. It's not going to take over my whole life. I'm not interested in being a manager and CEOing people and doing sales team meetings at 8:30 in the morning. And I'm just not going to do that. I did it. I've been there. Went to the top of the mountain, planted my flag, and next evolution here, something else now.
Wow.
Mm.
I just love seeing you live in your truth, and it's just so awesome to see. So, Vanessa, I know you are busy. You're right. Busy having fun.
I'm gonna go bike around the lake here. I'm gonna go take my mountain bike and go for a
She's
little
gonna
evening bike.
take her mountain bike on the mountains and just go have
Yeah.
fun and do all of that and have fun and make money at the same time. It is possible, everyone, definitely. So, Vanessa, it was so good catching up with you and chit chatting and just, sharing your knowledge with all the ladies, all the men out there, and
Mm.
let people know that, yeah, listen, be you, and you don't have to apologize, and you could still make money at it, right? It's such an amazing feeling to do that. Yeah.
Mm, absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for creating this rock star space for us to connect.
Sure. Yes, yes, yes. Shinna Queen, I don't know if I'm saying your name right. She's like, great convo. Yay.
Oh, Tanya!
Hey,
Ah!
well, thanks for stopping by. Yes,
Oh, I
yes,
miss
yes.
you.
Yes, I
All
love
right.
Franya's accent. She has that like amazing ooh 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 la la accent. Oh my god. Yes. So we're gonna
Mhm.
you're not gonna get away. We gotta do a pose off.
Okay, what's a pose off?
Like 1, 2, 3. Let me cue the music, and on 3, we just start posing with our faces. That's it. Like, girl,
Okay.
let me put it. I'm
You're
gonna do.
way better at this than I am, but I'm gonna play along. I'm down. I'm down.
Have you seen Vanessa's pictures? Like the one from Hawaii on the waterfall? Like, don't let her trick you. Like, she is the model inside. Okay, like seriously, I'm sure she used to model. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. So Frania, what's going on, girl? What's going on? Thanks for coming on. All right, let me cue the music.
So fun.
Wait. Okay, guys, it
So
was so
fun.
good. Oh my God.
Love
Love
you,
the
Trisha.
conversation. I love you too, Vanessa. Oh my God. What did Frania say? Frania said, rocking, looking at you. All right.
Bye,
Bye.
bye. Have a great day.
You too. Bye, Vanessa.
Bye.